All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is STORMYBMAN coming from the STORMYBMAN channel, and it is Friday, May 3rd, and we want to welcome everybody that's out there listening to the STORMYBMAN Friday Night Chop Session. This evening, we are going to entertain and discuss the order of business with boxing with the panel that we have. This evening, we also have a special guest with us on our panel. We got Laws D, or Laws the Pimpin', as he's known out there. And we welcome the brother out there to come and join us this evening. So I want you to say hello, Laws. How you doing, brother? Laws, you there? All right. Laws might have stepped away for a minute. Hey, Hypey, are you there, brother? All right, here we go. I understand that there's some people still filing in. I know that there's some other channels running and operating this evening, but the storm is still coming. The storm is brewing, so we are out here coming to the end of a wonderful week. This is fight week. Once again, we have this weekend, Saturday night, we have Saul Canelo Alvarez taking on Danny Jacobs in a unification for undisputed middleweight championship of the world. Laws, are you back now, brother?
Yeah, sorry, my bad, bro. Just went to use the toilet.
Yeah, I understand how that is. I just want you to, I was introducing you there when you went mute for a minute, but I wanted the people to say hello to you, because this is the first time I've had a chance to have you on the chop session with us. And you are welcome. You've given me a lot of support out there. And I just want the people to know that STORMYBMAN is, he's networking with the good folks in boxing out here on the YouTube channel. So Laws D is one of those people I respect, and I welcome you, my brother.
Thank you, B-Man. Thank you for having me on your channel, bro.
Yeah, that's what's up. It says that we got 4 people out there watching us already. So even though they're not making any comments yet in the chat, I want to say shout out to Derek Bailey. Derek Bailey has joined up on the STORMYBMAN subscriptions, and I want to say thank you for Derek for being out there and giving support to the channel. I have gone over the last month from like 100 and I guess I was like at 140 subscribers to 167. So I must be doing something pretty decent for the people to start tuning in to the STORMYBMAN channel and the different shows that I've been dropping. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
I've been with you, B-Man, from day one when you first started. Before you started, I was sub to you.
Yes, I know you were. Matter of fact, you were one of the ones that gave me an encouraging message and say, hey, Stormy B, we waiting on some content, man.
Yeah. I remember that, brother.
Yeah, because I just
you got
didn't
knowledge,
know how to
bro.
kick it off. I didn't know how to kick it off because I was spending a lot of time going to other channels and listening and being and participating in chats and, greeting people. Because I didn't want to come in and say, hey, come to subscribe to me. I wanted to go in there and start forming some conversations and relationships with people and greeting them every day and joking with them in the chats and stuff like that. I didn't come in there trying to, gangster nothing or whatever, man. I was just trying to be a part of a community. And just like I told the brothers on Smoke City Mobcast, as well as on Trill Boxing Talk, I said, man, you guys have stoked the flames of my love for boxing back, because it was kind of waning a bit. But, when I started going on there and start participating with the people and everything, it became something that it inspired me. Like, man, I should do a channel too, but not in a competitive sense, but just to have more to talk about or whatever. So that was the inspiration that I had.
That's what got me, B-Man, just like what you said. I used to listen to I've been listening to LDBC for years, bro. Not just the LDBC, just general boxing channels. And I used to think, oh, he's wrong about that. He's right about that. He's wrong about that. He's right about that. And the first person who ever subbed to me was Blood Boxing, and Blood said to me, just do your channel, man. Just talk your thing. I mean, I don't always get everything right, and one thing I'll always say about me, I get many things wrong, but sometimes I get things right. I'm not the best. I've never tried to be the best, but I love boxing and I love talking about it. And that was the reason why I used to say to you, come on, B-Man. Because I used to listen to some of your comments in my videos and I just think, this guy knows his boxing. So, all good, B-Man. Glad you're up and running, bro.
Yeah, man. And you know, we got more people filing in now. I guess 78 might be wrapped up with his interview. We got I want to say salute to Lawrence Williams out there. What's good, Lawrence? Thanks for stopping by the Friday night chop session. We got Sir Ken, and we also have Abel Mahari. What's good, Abel Mahari? What's happening, brother? You know, these people that we're seeing in the chat right now, they have been supporting me as well. And I just want to say thank you so much for everybody who's out there listening and participating in the chat. And I just say, please smash the like button while you're listening, and continue to support the Stormy B-Man channel, because here, all I'm trying to do, like I said, and I can't stress it enough, is to continue to promote the sport and promote it from the aspect of just talking boxing. I'm not talking the politics of it or whatever, because there's plenty of other platforms and everything that can do that, and they do it so well. But I can talk the X's and O's, like from a coach's standpoint of boxing, and I can talk matchups, I can talk styles, I can talk about fights that have transpired over the history of the sport. So my area of depth is in those departments, and I'm definitely not one who will try to step outside of my lane, so to speak. So that's where I am with that. I've even noticed that on a couple of my videos now, I have a couple of I won't call them trolls yet, but there are people who are willingly, you know, coming over there depending on who I'm talking about in the video. Like I guess today I did a Wilder video, and I immediately had a couple of Wilder haters. You know, they jumped right in. Names I hadn't even seen before. But I'm like, okay, that's cool. At least I done drew some people out. You know, that's what we here to do: talk boxing.
Yeah.
Whether you like them or you don't like them, we're gonna talk about them. So that's what we're gonna do. You know what I mean? So that's what Stormy B-Man is about. We got King Louis. What's
King
up?
Louis,
King
salute,
Louis is out
bro.
there with me this evening. Respect to you. Willie Beecham and I Am Will. Salute, I Am Will. What's going on, brother? Yeah, I Am Will was on here with us a couple of weeks ago on the Friday night chop session, and he contributed mightily to our conversation that evening. And I want to say thank you for your participation, and I will be extending an invitation to you again in the future. I Am Will. I try to keep the panel, you know, kind of small so we can have people to talk, but also at the same time we could participate with that chat. Sometimes when you fill a panel up with a lot of people, you could get to discussing matters and you forget about your people that are in the chat. You know, Lars, that's one of the things I'm learning about this process.
Yeah, he's a good man. Just like to say in the chat, King Louis, salute to Louis. I fucks with Louis. He's a good man, Louis is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cash G, what's good? And we also got Macadon One. Macadon One, what's good with you? Thanks for stopping by the Friday night chop session with Stormy B-Man. You know, we got this is fight weekend with Danny Jacobs and Canelo Alvarez. There hasn't been a lot of talk about these guys, and I think the consensus is, you know, Canelo going into the fight, he's a favorite, but I don't know if we are disrespecting Danny Jacobs, man, because I think that Danny has definitely physically the attributes and the physical assets that could give problems to a fighter like Canelo and the style that he has. I think where Danny may come up, at least from a perception, is that his boxing IQ may come to question and how he may deal with what Canelo has to bring. And that's why the video I did recently on him, I spoke about the X's and O's of what he needed to do to be successful, because we know what Canelo can do and will do to try to be successful himself. But we really don't know what Danny's game plan is going into this fight. And so my video focused on the possibilities of, if he's able to do X, Y, Z, you know, this is how he can prevail. Laws, did you have a chance to see that video?
I've not seen it, bro, but I will check it out. Just quickly, I'll have to check it out first before comment, but Dan Jacobs, oh man, I love him. I think he's a great fighter. I was listening to World Breaker yesterday, and World Breaker sort of hit the nail on the head. He was saying it all depends what Dan Jacobs turns up. Is he going to be revved up, ready to go? Or is he just going to be the normal Danny Jacobs, what might be laid back? And I don't know. I'm going to have to, I want Jacobs to win. I want Danny to win, definitely. But the thing with me, with Danny Jacobs, is is it Salaki, the Polish guy who he fought just before he won the IBF title?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought he was poor during that fight. Okay,
yeah,
he won.
It seemed like he didn't know how he wanted to go about his work. And in the meantime, he was figuring it out while he was in the fight. And that's the last place you want to try to figure out what you're gonna do. You should have what you're gonna do figured out in the gym during your training process, you know, not on fight night. And he got hit a lot more than I thought he should. He wasn't listening to his corner as much as I thought he should in that fight. And therefore, he had a lackluster performance. I was not really impressed with that performance at all. Actually, I was quite angry with him after that performance, because I was like, what are you doing? You know, it's like he was getting whacked, and it was like he made the fight much harder than it had to be. His movement that night, I don't know where he was. And see, that's the concern going into this fight. If he's gonna fight like that,
that's it, B-man. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah, if he's gonna fight like that, he's gonna be at a deficit, you know, against Canelo. But one of the things I know that Canelo has problem with, he has problem with athletic sorts who can move well with their feet, who put punches together in combination and give him angles and everything. Because Canelo likes to be planted when he gets his shots off.
He don't like that jab neither, B-man. If someone's got that jab in his face, Canelo don't like that jab.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he does this thing like, you know, it's a lost art, you know, where when punches come at you, you turn your head a certain way, or you kind of roll your shoulders a certain kind of way. It's like it's all predicated on timing. But see, if somebody has a good stiff jab, your timing can be disrupted. You see, because all they gotta do is just pump that jab, pump it in succession, pump it in triples, pump it in doubles, feint it, and then every once in a while, drop that right hand in there. And see, the thing is, if you're working the jab over time, they never know when the right hand is coming. If you just throw a 1-2 or you throw a jab, jab, right, you get into a rhythm in that. And a guy like Canelo, who has great timing, he gets you figured out, and then he'll start capitalizing on what you've done, but he won't do it right away. He'll bait you to what he wants to do to you by allowing you to still be successful, or at least successful in your mind of what you're doing. That's how he got Amir Khan, because Amir Khan was outboxing him for rounds. But he trapped Amir Khan into thinking that he was in a safe place, in a safe zone, because he wasn't doing things to Khan at that moment. But when he was ready for him, he set him up and he took him out easy.
Yeah.
But see, that's a smart fighter. That's a fighter with an IQ, you know.
For real. That's what I'm thinking. What you were just saying then, bro. How Canelo gives you that opportunity where he thinks that you're being good and you're doing this and you're doing okay, but really he's setting you up, like you just said. The Khan fight, Khan was fucking doing okay, but he really was setting him up and setting traps. Me personally, I don't see Canelo knocking Jacobs out. But then again, I don't see Jacobs knocking him out. I don't know. I can't. Danny Jacobs is, to me, B-Man, is one of them fighters. I don't know, mate. I can't put my fucking hand on him, bro. Sorry for swearing. I can't.
No. You know what it is. You know what it is, Laws.
He's frustrating, bro.
He has one of those things. He's one of those fighters that, you know how you could have an old car, right? But it's got a really good engine in it, right?
Yeah,
it don't look like much, but it could take you down the road. It could take you on the road. But people look at it and be like, man, when you gonna get rid of that piece of crap? And you know you ain't ready to get rid of it because it's a good runner, right? But they don't know what's under the hood. That's Danny Jacobs. You don't know what's under the hood. There's something there, but you just don't know because it hasn't been defined. It hasn't. Maybe it has to do with he doesn't have a good trainer. And when I say a good trainer, that's not who he's working with, but someone who teaches, who's able to take a fighter to a certain plateau. He hasn't been brought to that at this point. But I want to stop my comment right now and welcome another one of our panelists that have come in. Kurt Sugar has joined us finally. And I also want to acknowledge that Hyphy hasn't had a chance to come in and say anything to the listeners.
I'll just quickly say salute Kurt, salute Hyphy.
Yeah, so Kurt and Hyphy, please come on in, brothers, and join the discussion.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Who we got with the Hagler Hearns avatar?
That's Laws D, Laws the Pimpin', man.
Oh, Laws D. Okay.
Salute,
what's going on, man?
Salute, brother.
What's going on, Stormy B?
Oh man, it's all good tonight, Kurt. We got about 12 or more people watching right now. People, please smash the like button when you come on in. It seems like that 78 gave a good interview with Deontay Wilder tonight, but it's nice to know that the people who have finished up with that and have come on and joined us here for the chop session, man. So I'm just welcoming and greeting everybody. We got Jay Good has joined us, Sheldon Holmes. You know, everybody's out there giving us some love and support this evening, and it's a wonderful
Sheldon
thing.
Holmes and Jay Good. Salute to them.
Yeah. And like I said, Hyphy is out there, but I know Hyphy, he operates behind the scenes a lot. But we do welcome him to chime in when he has something to say.
Hyphy's a sniper.
Nah, I'm going on mute because
part two.
I'm going on mute because I got some background noise. I'm up in the wind. But nah, that was a real good interview. Sorry about that, but y'all know Deontay, like my favorite fighter, and he actually went longer than he went into like you guys' show. So I was listening to that. But nah, I'm here now.
Yeah, I'll catch it on the replay because I do want to hear whatever Deontay had to say. But I was getting back home late from dinner, and I knew I had to get started on this. I just wanted to get the links out to you brothers for the panel this evening. But we got a nice little audience with us this evening, Hyphy. we're gaining momentum. That's one of the things that we were looking forward to. And Kurt, I wanted to let you know that before we went live, Lost D was giving us a compliment on our show, The Three Wise Men of Boxing. So I would like to, Lost, if you could cook on that a little bit for what you had to say, about that. Please share with the audience and tell the audience why they should tune in for Three Wise Men of Boxing.
Yeah, you're damn right, brother. You're damn right. First of all, I've been subscribed to Scrapbook for best part of 18 months. Love Scrapbook's channel because he digs up the history and he's got the background and everyone. I first came across Big Kurt Sugar on, I think it was Blood Boxing. I heard Blood talking about him saying the man knows his boxing, he knows all retro boxing and stuff like that. And I first came against you, B-Man. I think it was in an LDBC chat talking to you. And I said to you, get your channel up and running. And you've got that up and running. And then I've just at Christmas time first started listening to World Breaker. And World Breaker does a thing with Big Kurt. And it's always over here. It's like 5 o'clock when I get home from work. It's one of the LDBC channels over here what I can actually catch the full stream. And I listen to Big Kurt. Man knows his boxing. Loves Scrapbook, knows his boxing. B-Man loves his boxing. And then it was just one Saturday afternoon over here, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It come up on my phone, Three Wise Men. And I looked on the panel and there was B-Man, Big Kurt, and Scrapbook, and I thought, great, listening to this retro boxing, talking about Reuben Carter. I think it was the first one where I caught you were talking about Reuben Carter, and he's, you were talking about the movie, but then you started, like you were saying before, B-Man, talking about what actually went on in his life, and I didn't know that they were trying to stop an Oscar or something like that. And I catch it over here on a Saturday tea time. For anyone who loves, it's not so much old boxing, anyone who loves boxing, because I follow these brothers because I'm not interested in these modern day boxers, because to me they're all pansies compared to the old brothers. I love boxing and its history from the old days because they had it harder. And I'll shut up now and pass over to you lot.
You can go, Kurt. You can go.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Lost D, for the compliments, man. You guys show me a lot of love. I'm only here to spread knowledge and just talk fellowship. You got certain people who know more than certain others. Others, and we learn from each other. I like to have other people take their opinions. And they may say something, and I'll be like, damn, he's right. Say something more in depth. And it's good that no matter where you from or where you look, the way you look or whatever the case may be, it's about brotherhood. And I mean all brothers from different colors, Unfortunately, it ain't like that. You got a lot of racist stuff going on, but I respect England because they invented boxing. They invented boxing gloves. Christopher Monk invented boxing in 1681, and Jack Broughton in 1747 invented the boxing glove. So there's a lot of history there. I admire you guys' enthusiasm. England has a crazy fan base. I remember Ricky Hatton coming to fight Mayweather. Oh my gosh, man. I've never seen nothing like that, man. That was bananas. Or Ricky Hatton fighting Costa Zoo. You know, you couldn't. It was like more like a soccer crowd. It was bananas. But you know, you meet people. You know, I met up with Stormy B and Scrapbook, man, and you know, people give me a lot of love. They respect and appreciate my knowledge, which I'm very grateful or humbled. You know,
Everyone's market.
Thanks. And you know, we just here to talk. We got a big fight tomorrow. I'm hyped. You know, if Danny Jacobs seems like really confident, man. Really confident.
Well, Kurt, before you joined us, we were talking about that, and then I know you were on while I was stating my piece. So go ahead and chime in with whatever you might have to say on that, because that's where we were going to lead into next anyway. But you know, I was just trying to stretch it out a bit while you were, you know, we were waiting for you to join us. So, but before you say one thing, let me just welcome three more people in here who have joined us. Jay Good, Bodru Thibodeau Boxing. We've got Bunton South D-Town Peace. What's up? We got JMJ 2121. Welcome to the channel, man. I see you out there with and Broderick Hunter. We got people joining and listening tonight, man. It's a Friday night. Let's talk the good stuff of boxing, and I'm gonna let Kurt go ahead and cook on that fight. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, man. I've been studying Canelo for a very long time, like I've been saying all week. You know, Canelo is a seasoned fighter. A seasoned fighter is a dangerous fighter. They've seen many styles. You know, Canelo did something really smart that nobody is not talking about. You know, when he lost to Mayweather, he said to himself, for me to be on a high level, I'm going to start fighting these American guys. I have to change my style. He used to be really aggressive. So he learned, you know, little defense, slip along the ropes. You know, he has a little James Toney-ish to him. I noticed that, you know, especially when he was coming forward against Triple G. I noticed he implemented a lot of American style. So when a Mexican fan say Mexican style, he fights more American style than anything. Counter punching, you know, his feet is not that good because naturally he doesn't have rhythmic or perpetual motion. So he makes up for it by his, you know, his upper body, you know. But a guy like Jacobs, you know, can imitate a guy like Aries Landy Lara and do the best Mayweather, keep the jab in his face and move side to side, you know, use your athletic ability because it would throw him off rhythm. Canelo has to plant and punch. So he at his best when a fighter is coming to him. If you look at James Kirkland fight and Alfredo Angulo, you know, and guys like that, you know, it's you make it easy for him because you're right there, and that's what he wants. He'll try to break you down to the body like he did Liam Smith, you know. But if you move, you disrupt his rhythm, and you would throw him off. So he has no other way to fight but to come in. And Jacob should pump that jab, man, like Winky right there, Trinidad. Keep that jab in his face and throw something hard to let him know you just can't sell out like that. You know, and I would throw a jab, straight right hand, left hook. And when Canelo gets inside, he dips a lot. So you should meet him with an uppercut because Golovkin hurt Canelo with an uppercut. He hurt him in the 10th round and he hurt him in the 11th round. You know, and a couple of punches with the uppercut because he just stopped. And I knew he was hurt. So it depends. See, physical ability is only 30% in boxing. You have to come up with a plan and follow it to a T. When I was betting on fights, I always betted on Mayweather and Sugar Ray Leonard because I know once they have the game plan, they was gonna follow it to a T. Them guys weren't gonna let you down. I don't know about Jacobs. I don't know about his ring IQ. I didn't like the way he looked in his last 3 fights. You know, but he seems very confident. And I'm gonna finish up by saying this. He seems very confident, you know, but like I said, it could be a Rolls Royce that can't start, or it could be a Maxima who just on a good day beats the Ferrari. So, you know, I don't know with Jacobs. I got to see. When I have to guess about a fighter, that is not a good feeling. So, Jacobs has the potential, if he fights smart, to make it a tough fight, a very tough fight.
Well, Kurt, would you agree? Like when you were listening in, I don't know if you caught my little metaphor. I'm like the king of metaphors around here, man. That's the coach in me, I guess. But I was saying that Jacobs was like this guy, that had a car that had a good engine under the hood, but the car, it looks like a beater or whatever, but it can take you anywhere you want to go. If you want to go on the road or whatever, it's just sturdy and it'll bring you through a harsh winter, whatever. And that's kind of like Jacobs. He has all of that under the hood, but outside, externally, he's not looking good. He doesn't look focused. He doesn't look, it's like, but these are things that can be cleaned up. And the funny thing about it is this: if he puts it together on the night that he gets in there with Canelo Alvarez, he could make Canelo Alvarez look just like he made Kid Chocolate look. That's the kind of talent that Danny Jacobs has. We don't know if he can do that because he has shown us the flaws, but the flaws are not the type of flaws that can't be fixed. Like when we talk about Amir Khan, and I don't mean to harp on this young man, but we know that one of his flaws is he's very one-dimensional, and if you catch him clean, he can go. So it's like, wow, that's glaring. It's kind of hard. He has to fight a perfect fight and not get hit, not get caught, not get in exchanges. Well, with Danny, his flaws are definitely something that can be cleaned up. And I'm talking about on fight night, tomorrow night, he can be in the midst of this fight and being in the midst of doing things, showing us that he's cleaned it up, and we won't recognize it until we get the end result because we just see him for those flaws, but they're not flaws that are irreparable. Would you agree with that, Kurt?
Yeah, definitely. In other words, Danny Jacob lacks intangibles, and you must have intangibles when you fight in a seasoned fighter who has moxie and savvy, but to a certain extent. I know how to beat Canelo. See, that's the thing. And the last month, Danny been talking a good game. He's saying everything right. He's been studying Mayweather and Lara. It's not the fighter he's tried to imitate, but the style they bring. Lara gave Canelo fits, man, and he's bigger. So I don't. If Danny goes to the ropes, that's trouble, and he'll do something stupid like that. Right. So he has to fight smart. He has to use his mental and his physical together. And now, if he can do that tomorrow night, it would be a very interesting fight because you beat Canelo with rhythmic and perpetual motion, but you also have to think in the ring.
And don't forget this one X factor right here. He could nail Canelo with a shot and it'd be trouble time because he's a bigger man. He really is the bigger man.
I was just about to say that,
walk around weights and all of that. I'm talking about what they've been fighting at. He's always been fighting at a bigger weight than Canelo, you see, and he has matured to that degree. Canelo has the experience of being in fights and going rounds. This is one of the things that I talk about all the time. When you've gone a certain amount of rounds in your career, you get adjusted. You can survive in there. You can take you know how to take breathers. You know how to do. That's what he had over Triple G, because Triple G was basically fighting a certain kind of way, but Canelo was always dictating the pace of whatever happened. The only difference between the two was Canelo didn't have enough power to hurt Triple G and be a threat of knocking him out. If he had that, then he would have beaten Triple G even easier because Triple G is not a courageous person. In other words, he wasn't willing to sell out and take risks to win a fight. He was more content as that jab out and, trying to minimize how much he was getting hit in return.
Right, because he know he's robotic and he didn't have that perpetual motion where he can be a fluid fighter, let your combination go and move side to side, transition from offense to defense, and that's another thing Jacob has to do. And he has it, but I don't know if he's going to use it. You have to learn, and I seen him do it flashes. You have to get your punches off and quickly transition from offense to defense, especially when you fight an elite counterpuncher. You know, and you know, the great fighters always did it, you know, with ease. You know, so Jacobs is far from great, but he can't do it. You know, he has all the opportunity in the world to change his life tomorrow night, man. He beats Canelo, he's on top of the world. You know, can he do it? If I was a betting man, I would say no. But hey, you know, people say Buster Douglas could win either. Anything can happen in the boxing ring. He can run Canelo into something because Danny Jacobs has 29 knockouts and 35 fights, so he can crack. I think he's a little chinny. I'm going to dismiss the Pig Rock fight because his grandmother died and he had cancer, and you know that's being in the ring. That's a hell of a feat in itself. But you know, this fight, if Jacobs fight the right way, this fight can be very, very interesting.
Kurt, can I ask you a question
you
quickly?
Got something to say about that, brother?
Yeah, sorry, bro. Just quickly. Kurt, do you think that because Danny is a natural bigger boxer than them anyway, do you think that in my eyes, how I look at this fight, I see Jacobs as he's more of a natural middleweight than what Canelo will ever be. In my eyes, I see that Jacobs should be able to bully him tomorrow night, bully him and basically just dominate him. But because I feel that Dan Jacobs is he lacklusters. Do you think Jacobs will get in there and just bully him, or do you think Canelo will just have his own way with him? I don't know.
I don't think Danny should fight like that because then Canelo's going to break him down to the body. You giving Canelo opportunities, you know, when you're in close. Jacob should keep him on what you call tail end punches. The jab is very important because it can throw your rhythm off, you know, and Canelo likes to come inside, go to the body, and then he has this move where he'll fake to the body and come with an overhand right. That's the move that knocked out Khan, and he did it against Kirkland too. He looked at Kirkland's chest and came over the top, you know, so Jacobs, and plus he's taller, you know, so Jacobs has to use his feet, use his jab. Don't just run around the ring like Lara, you know, but be aggressive, but pick your spots. Make them, you know, Canelo's coming in, running into something because Canelo will get frustrated. If Danny fights the right way, the first 3 rounds is very, very important. If Canelo gets on the inside, man, this fight ain't going the distance. You know, and Jacobs back against the rope. No, he keep Canelo in the center of the ring, use the jab, come with something hard too. Jacobs got good hooks, man. Good hooks, you know, but keep him in the tail end punches.
Yeah.
Well, there's something that I wanted to say about that too, about how the fight starts off, because if I know Canelo Alvarez, what he's going to do early in the fight, the first couple of right hands and left hooks that he throws at Danny Jacobs are going to be home run punches. They're going to be home run punches. But it ain't going to be to try to knock him out, but it's to give him the perception of the type of fire that he's going to find himself under. But that's not really true. It's an offensively defensive mechanism. Guys do that for respect. It's like drawing a line saying, if you come across this line, this is what you're going to get. And Jacobs has got to be prepared for that too, because some fighters who are not mentally prepared for a fight can get caught with those kind of shots and be shook or get in trouble or even get stopped early in fights. That's something that he has the experience of doing and will implement as part of his game plan. He did it to Triple G in their first fight. First couple of right hands and left hooks he threw at Triple G, he threw everything on him. And it immediately got Triple G's respect. Do you recall that, Kurt?
Yeah, he fought totally different. You know, in the first and second fight, they were two totally different fight. Because he said I gotta push Triple G back. So, you know, and plus he was hitting Triple G with some good left hooks to the body, man. You know, and I thought they caught his attention as well. You know, Canelo's a good fighter, but he has weaknesses and flaws. I mean, you've seen him against Mayweather, Lara, and Trout, you know, but it's a certain style you have to bring in a ring to bring out those flaws.
Absolutely. I want to take a moment to go back to the chat for a moment. We've got some people who have joined us. I want to say shout out to Big LT. He's joined us. Mark Pinkerton is out there. He says, we're looking forward to tomorrow's show. Roderick Hunter. He says Canelo is going to try to walk Danny down, in my opinion, but he has stamina problems, so he won't be dancing much. Willie Beecham says, does the winner get the accolade of being labeled a great? JMJ 2121 says, Curtis Anderson, salute, kicking science like Hubie Brown with the NBA basketball. Abel Mahari says, that's what worries me about Jacobs. Does he have the boxing IQ to follow his game plan? And Jay Good says, my confidence in Jacobs is low. Also, JMJ 2121 says, hell yeah, Abel Mahari, because Brown and Madden with coaches watching film and other stuff, that is what Kurt Anderson does, just like them, but he watched the film. He said Curtis Anderson could be a manager and a practice partner for these fighters. Also, we got Brown on boxing. He says salute to STORMYBMAN at Curtis Anderson and Hyphy. And Brown on boxing also says, I love Hubie Brown. He took my Memphis Grizzlies to the NBA playoffs and won Coach of the Year here in Memphis. You know, I know Hyphy is out there with us. Hyphy, you got something you want to say on anything related to boxing this week, even if you don't want to talk about the Jacobs and Canelo fight?
Yeah. Well, I want to rewind back. Laz, he was telling you guys, you know, how he felt about the three wise men, that show, and you know, that's how I feel about it also. You know, three you know, guys who could really break down, you know, the boxing, you know, before our time and stuff, and really teach us the game. And you know, I really respect you three because, you know, it's a lot of dudes that like to get on and try to talk, you know, old boxing. Most of them can't. And just because you're an older brother, that don't mean that you know how to talk boxing. So, you know, I'm not using that historian term loosely, because it's a lot of old dudes that get on here and talk boxing and don't even know the old boxing. So I respect you three and what you guys got going on as far as the show. And you know, what's up to everybody in the chat that I see y'all saying what's up to me. What's up to y'all?
All right. Laws D. Let me ask you this. You weren't with us when we were talking about the Terrence Crawford Amir Khan fight that happened recently. Can I ask you, what's your assessment of where you think Terrence Crawford is in the sport right now? Do you still think he's like the top pound for pound, or at least one of the top five, or do you see him slipping? What do you think about Terrence Crawford? Laws, you there, brother? He might have dropped off for a moment. Kurt, let me ask you this. When we were talking before about these fighters and where we see them 5 years from now, are you seeing the sport move fast enough as far as where we can have somebody in the sport as a face of boxing? Because I noticed earlier on the chat with World Breaker, that term kept coming up, the face of boxing. Do you see somebody in the next 4 or 5 years that could be the face of boxing?
No. Maybe somebody that come out the woodworks like Mike Tyson. No, a lot of people didn't expect that. He didn't even make the Olympic team. He became a worldwide phenomenon. It's usually like that in boxing. Maybe 10 years, you know. Let me see what Jaron Ennis look like. It's hard because you have to have skill and personality. When you think about it, it's only been like 5 fighters in the last 50 years maybe 6 that been the face of boxing, you know, from Ali in the 60s and 70s, and then, you know, in the 80s you had Leonard and Tyson, and you had De La Hoya, who had the female crowd, man, and you know, then you know you had Floyd Mayweather because of social media. So when you look at these fighters, you know, there hasn't been a lot of fighters in face of boxing. That's hard to do. You will have popular fighters, but to carry the sport on your shoulders, only few fighters can do that. Back in the day, you had Sugar Ray Robinson. These was crossover stars. You seen them in movies. Jack Dempsey and Joe Louis. You know, Rocky Marciano was huge too. You know, so you had those guys in the old school, you know, that carried boxing, man. But there's only like 10, 15 guys in 100 years. So it's just not easy. Today, fighters don't fight like that. They don't have that go get them attitude. You know, it's a generational thing, man. You know, I think there's, you know, if you put, if I was a bet man, I would say there'll be a fighter that we don't know yet that's going to be great, special. He's in the gym right now. We just don't know who he is.
Yeah, I hear you, and I know that's how
real
Mike Tyson
talk.
ended up popping up. But hey, Lost D, you had stepped away for a moment. I had asked the question for you.
My bad, my bro.
After Terrence Crawford's victory over Amir Khan, since you weren't on with us, I wanted to get your take on where do you see Terrence Crawford in the sport now at his weight class? Do you put him at the top? Do you put him amongst the top 5? Do you think he's dropping? What do you think about Terrence Crawford?
In his division or pound for pound?
Well, both. You can give us a little something on both. Where do you see him in both sides?
Right. Okay. Me personally, I see Bud Crawford up there with Errol Spence, pound for pound. I think, me personally, I think Bud Crawford and Terrence Crawford, try again. I have Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. pound for pound, probably neck and neck. But what was the other question? Sorry, bro, because I just
No. After his victory over Amir Khan, where we know that Khan took a low shot on the thigh there, and he decided to go home.
Yeah, but, he did. That's right.
Yeah, but where do you see Bud Crawford as far as off of that performance? You know, minus the punch that made the guy quit, but how he looked to you during that fight, and where do you see him after the fight in the sport? Now, you just said you saw him and Earl Spence like at 1 and 2 or up there tied, whatever. But do you feel like, you know, because some people, and I'm not trying to bait anything here, but some people feel like there are some other fighters who haven't done or accomplished anything near as he, but they feel like they're up there with him. And I'm just saying that for a present day fighter, and you've been watching boxing a long time, like you said, since you were 7 years old, where do you see him in the sport?
I see Bud personally. I'm not even going to talk for pound now. I see Bud as probably one of the best boxers in the world. And the reason why I say that is because what is he? Is he a freeweight world champion? Am I wrong? Or
you're right.
Yeah, he's a freeweight world champion. But until Bud beats the likes of Errol Spence, I don't think Bud's ever going to get his recognition. I mean, Amir Khan, that was a good fight. I did a video on this ages ago, just going slightly off the subject, but going back onto the subject. I did a video on this saying, was this a duck, what Amir Khan did? Because he'd signed with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom to have a couple of fights and then fight Cal Brook over here in the UK. And then next thing you know, Amir Khan threw that contract straight out the window, decided to go over to America and fight Bud Crawford. And I was asking, in the video, I was asking, is this a duck or is this a good move by Amir Khan? But going back to Bud, I just think Bud's he's had everything put in front of him and he's dealt with it. I watched the very first time I ever seen Bud Crawford was when he came over to Glasgow at Hampden Park and he beat Ricky Burns for the WBO. I think it was at 140 or 135? I can't remember. But he beat Ricky Burns, and I started to take note of him. But man, Bud's got to lose Bob Arum. He's got, I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm rabbiting on a little bit here. I like Bud and I like Errol Spence. I just like to see them both fight each other. But me personally, I think Bud just seems to deal with everything what's in his way. Whether he can deal with Errol Spence or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I actually I have him very high on my.
Yeah, I have him high, bro.
Yeah, but what I want to explain is like I have him very high on my rating scale as far as the present fighters in the sport because because of his accomplishments.
Yeah.
Because of the way that he has won in various fights. The way that you win means a lot too. Meaning like, you know, stopping guys, knocking guys out, winning late, winning early, being versatile at winning. He has accomplished that. And for other fighters who are successful, but maybe not have accomplished as much, they're still being given the shine that he deserves that they haven't earned. And that's the thing that I have a problem with in the sport. Kurt, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
B-Man, just quickly.
Man.
My bad.
Oh, no problem. You know, I'm gonna cook on Terrence Crawford, man. I'm high on him because, you know, when we talking about Jacobs, how we gotta think about this, he gotta do this, and we hope he do that. See, that's the difference with a guy like Crawford. There's levels in the game. Crawford talents and his high skills jump out at you. It's evident. I mean, he's so highly skilled. He's the best fighter in the world, and it's not even close, man. He's the best welterweight, and he's the best fighter, top 10, because he's a champion 3 different weight divisions. He beat every style. You know, Terrence Crawford has a lot of dog in him. You know, people forget Terrence Crawford hits because he wants to get hit, you know, because he wants to engage. But people forget that when he fought Postall, it wasn't the most exciting fight, but he barely got hit because he went in there to box him. And people saying Postall was going to beat Crawford. You know, he was the boogeyman, Danny Garcia, Doug Postall. You know, I remember that. You know, but Crawford whitewashed him. That's what I knew. I said, oh, we got something here in this kid. This kid is different. He's different, Crawford. You can see it. You know, highly skilled, man. And I think he went up another level because people say, oh, Khan going to outbox him. And, you know, this is a trap fight. He made Khan look like an amateur. And he knocked all the fight out of Khan, his spirit, man. Khan knew he couldn't win before the fight, and Crawford left no doubt. In the first round, Crawford started fast. And he had that Tommy Hearns death stare, man. And, you know, if I put it like this, if Crawford was fighting and being a natural middleweight and having the size Jacob had, he would knock Canelo out tomorrow. That's how highly skilled he is. He will whitewash him. You know.
Okay. Well, one of the things I wanted to say too, Kurt, and it is really overlooked because the Postal victory, the Ndongo victory.
That's what I was going to say.
The Ndongo victory, the Jeff Horn victory, and the Benavidez victory. You know, it's the way that he beat these men. He beat them all in different ways, and a couple of them he took the fight away from them mentally. If it wasn't done before they went between the ropes, it was after the bout started. And I don't care what no one says, Benavidez got lured into something that he had never seen in his life. The funny thing about the Benavidez knockout or stoppage, there was a point early in the fight where they were like, they got into a couple of exchanges. And Benavidez hit Bud with a body shot or something, and they kind of knocked him sideways, you know, but he was kind of like off balance. It was a balance thing. And some people, after the fight, they spoke to this thing like, oh, did you see Benavidez was too strong for him and this and that? But what I noticed was early in the fight, when they got in close, Bud was throwing a shot under Benavidez's jab. And the shot that he was throwing was a shot that Razor Ruddock was very famous for, the smash. It's a 45-degree hook uppercut.
Yeah.
And he was throwing it under Benavidez's jab. And early in the fight, when he threw it, it just whisked past his chin. And I was like, ooh, that was a punch if that would have landed. And the funny thing was that in the 12th round, when he was fatigued and he wasn't as busy when Terrence got close to him, he threw that lazy jab and Terrence nailed him with the same punch. That was the punch that put his lights out. And it was set up early. You understand? Early when he threw it, like guys, you know, when they're fresh, they can move out of way of punches or you might not get your distance down correctly. But in that 12th round, he waited for that guy to throw that lazy jab again. He did it, and he nailed him. And that is a high IQ. It's almost like when you talk about how Juan Manuel Marquez set Pacquiao up for that knockout shot. You know, it was like he kept trying to time it, and he finally got him. It took him 4 fights, but he finally got that shot in there. Because like when Freddie Roach said that Wilder takes a little stutter step before he throws that right hand, well, Manny takes that stutter step when he's going to jump in with that left hand. And Marquez caught him clean, and it was over. So we're talking about IQ at the highest level. When guys are thinking in the 12th round, he's thinking of throwing that shot under a lazy jab. You understand? That's an assassin. That's a guy who will wait. You know, there are critics, creatures in the wild who will lay patiently and wait for their prey and wait their prey out. And the prey figure, oh, it's safe now. And they go out there and boom, they've been captured by a predator because that predator is patient, like an assassin, waiting for its opportunity. That's how I see Bud. It's not about being stronger than someone. It's not about out physicaling them. It's not about being faster or this. It's about having all the tools together, but knowing when to use them and how to use them and who to use them on and everything. It's so much to this. It is so much to this. And if you look at the man and how he's winning, you don't really appreciate it now. But man, I'm telling you, 5 to 10 years after he's retired, people are going to be like, man, you remember? Oh, yeah. And they're going to be talking about the guy.
Yeah.
But they're finding every excuse now not to give him the credit that he's due. He is due. There are many fighters out there that are not due. But this man, he's due.
B, do you remember when he fought Julius Ndongo? I didn't give him a chance against Ndongo. I seen Ndongo. Did he go over to Russia and beat that Russian guy or that Eastern European guy? And then he came over to Britain and he beat Ricky Burns and took a belt off Ricky Burns. Then Crawford fought him and Crawford dropped him with that. Was it like a kidney shot? And what I'm trying to say, I don't think people give Bud credit for and Dongo. Dongo was a good fighter, man. He was a tough African lad. And Bud dropped him. Bud dropped him easy. Adapted to his game. Dropped him. I think it was with I could be wrong. I have to ask Kurt. He dropped him with was it a kidney shot, a body shot?
You know what that was, Laws?
Yeah, come on,
that
bro.
That was because Terrence Crawford has trained to throw punches with the opponent. You understand? Yeah. Because the best time to hit a guy is when he's trying to hit you. He's open. When he throws a shot at you, he's open. You just have to know the shot to throw. Now, Ndungu didn't see the body shot at all because he was a fighter. He had fast hands, but he throws looping punches. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. As he was looping his punch around, Bud comes straight up the middle with that body shot and hit him right there in the floating rib. And it was over because two things was happening. Two things was happening. As Ndungu was throwing his shot, you know, you're taught in boxing, when you throw your shot, you exhale, you breathe. You throw your shot. Well, he had exhaled, so he had no oxygen. And the shot hit him in the floating rib. Point. So he went down. And it was over. Yeah. Because guess what?
He couldn't
get his breath for 10 seconds. He was rolling on the floor like he had fallen on top of a football. Anybody play the sport of football and you get tackled and you fall on top of that ball,
oh man,
and the air get flushed out of your lungs, you can't breathe for like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
you know, you gotta catch your breath. Man. Huh?
I say it's the worst experience I experienced. Now you get the wind knocked out of you.
You get the wind knocked out of you. And that's what happened to Ndungu. But see, a fighter who trains the proper way knows these things. Canelo knows. That's why he goes to the body as well as he does, because he knows he can get a certain effect out of a fighter if he's able to land a certain kind of punch over a certain period of time. It's going to produce the desired effect. And plus,
man, am I wrong? Ain't that what he did? Isn't that what Canelo did Rocky Bum Fielding with? Similar type of shot.
Well, that was also just a guy who wasn't on his level.
He just wasn't good enough, man. He just wasn't good enough.
I'm just on about like the shot what he hit him with.
It just wasn't good enough, man. I mean, there's levels to this here game, man. But Terrence Crawford, man, is just an amazing fighter.
I know
man.
that.
He really
I know
is,
that.
Man.
Okay, I'm just on about like, wasn't it a similar shot, like a kidney stroke body shot? You know, to the side of your body.
But see, that's the kind of thing. When you see fighters who are accomplishing things like this, it's just like when Floyd was really, really good. Floyd was beating guys which appeared to be so easily. People just didn't like it. It's like, well, you know, maybe if someone take him and do this to him. Well, you found out that he was just that damn good.
Yeah.
You understand? And the other guys he was fighting weren't quite there. And it's easy to not like a person because they're successful. But what you need to do is take a step back and analyze what's making them so successful. Huh?
Yes,
it's like, don't hate on the success. Want to envy the capability that's behind the success so you can be successful. You know, Floyd talked a lot of stuff. He made people upset and everything, but he ran at hours that other people wasn't running. He was in the gym training at hours when other people wasn't running and training, and he was successful. He used and analyzed. He got all of his talent and all of the opportunity out of what he was doing. There were other guys who could have been even more talented, but they didn't put that work in. I remember they say Floyd would go out to the strip club and be out there, he passing out money and everything, go home, then get up in the middle of the night and call the guys and say, come on down to the gym, I'm ready to train. And everybody's in the bed. Some of them was drunk and everything. Floyd training.
Yeah.
You know? That's a fighter, man.
Yeah, for real, bro.
Yeah, that's true. You know, he's a rare breed, man. But Terrence Crawford, man, is an exceptional fighter. You know, Spence is too. You know, so when they fight each other, it's the moment of truth, man, because it's gonna bring out the truth in Crawford or Spence. The winner of this is like, you know, really is like top pound for pound when they do fight, man. I got Crawford there. So, you know, he needs that signature win. So if he beats Spence, then it's no doubt, man. They said Horns was too strong for him, and they always doubt him, man. But Lomachenko and Canelo and them guys, man, they not near Crawford, man.
Kurt, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If the fight's scheduled, who are you gonna pick and why?
Crawford, because he has a little bit more dimension to his game. He's more multi-dimensional. Plus, he can transition from offense to defense. And I don't like Spence backing up with a high guard. He squares up a little bit too much. I think Crawford take advantage of that, and he might hit Spence with a punch that can't come out of nowhere because he seems to be good for that. That's his IQ. It'll be a tough fight. It can go either way. Spence can win, but betting man, I would say Crawford beats Spence.
Yeah. Do you know
let me get up in there when I get a chance too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on, Alfie, bro.
All right, well, look, because, you know, we on this whole Terrence Crawford pound for pound thing, and I respect how y'all been, you know, carrying on the conversation and stuff, but it's time to let me off the leash a little bit. Look, I can make this argument. I can make this whole argument without bringing up Earl Spence, but since you got a lot of Spence fanboys out there, I'm going to just throw the dude in there because y'all like to throw him under the bus too. So first of all, there's a lot of people that like to hate on Terrence. Oh, well, he's never going to be a star. Look, being a big star is not for everybody. That dude is not trying to be a big star, first of all. As far as him being a pound-for-pound fighter, bro, that dude been here. Look, he been at least the #2 pound-for-pound fighter before before Earl even won a belt. This whole A-side B stuff, I don't care why. I don't even know why people is arguing about that stuff. Y'all don't get no part of that money. And as far as being on the other side of the street, last time I checked, if two people really wanted to make a fight, homie, that fight could be made. So I'm gonna shutting all that stuff down. Get mad if y'all want to. As far as you know,
great point, Ivy.
Him being over there with a top rank. Look, fine. I feel just like y'all feel about Bob Arum, but I know how to separate the fighter from the business aspect. I'm talking about the fighter in the ring, what he does as a fighter. The dude is the pound for pound best. Clearly he is. He been here longer than Spence, been dominating at the top longer than Spence. And matter of fact, and I'm gonna say this too because, you know, like I said, you got a lot of people out there hating. You got people like KQKC Boxing, and I want you to see this too. You out there talking about, oh, Terrence Crawford, he's not crafty. All he does is switch. He gets hit. It's a whole bunch of other fighters doing what he do. First of all, what other fighter at the top is dominating every opponent back to back to back? It ain't too many of them. You know what I'm saying? It ain't too many of them having dominant performances like that. And then you got the nerves to say Bud ain't a good fighter, but Danny Jacobs is a great fighter? How did that even make sense? It's dudes like that that's out here saying dumb stuff, trying to discredit the dude because y'all got an agenda. Y'all got to stop doing that, because if Earl wasn't here, y'all be the reason y'all be complaining. Oh, well, shoot, you know, y'all be all up on this dude, Jock. Oh, Terrence Crawford is the best, and y'all be getting mad because y'all see how he being dumb by, you know, other people who don't like him because of skin color. So y'all need to stop doing all that hating. That dude is clearly the best fighter out there. Stop doing all that hating.
Yeah. Do you know, quickly, Ivy, just...
Hold on. I just want to say something.
Go on, bro.
I just want to say something behind, you know, what Hyphy just shared. Hyphy is a young brother that I talk to behind the scenes, and I kind of have really developing a good rapport and friendship with him. And one of the things that he says to me from time to time, he speaks on his frustration about how people don't want to just be honest. And they're like bandwagon guys. They may just, because certain things are being said a certain kind of way, they want to follow, and they don't want to upset the cart or whatever. One of the most wonderful things that God has blessed man with is objectivity. You understand? To be able to have your own mind and think for yourself. But the one who cultivates that mind, the one who takes the time to invest, read, research for self, begin to see different vantage points, to begin to understand that is a perspective outside of your own that makes you capable of being special. You understand? He is expressing sentiments that a lot of people feel. Okay?
Yeah.
But you have to look at what's evident. I said it a different way. He said it his way. I said there are fighters out here today who are being showered with accolades and being placed at a point where Terrence has accomplished things and these guys have not. And they're taking or detracting from his accomplishments with trivial crap by men who don't even want to get in and face #1 contenders. I'm not talking about sanctioning body #1 contenders, but contenders who are threats to take their titles from them. You understand? And the game is flooded with these guys. Terrence Crawford has moved up, and faced the best over and over and over again. And they find a way not to give him his credit of accomplishments. He's doing the thing. These other guys are talking. They talk about PBC, they talk about Top Rank, they talk about the zone. But look at it. You got a whole bunch of guys over there at PBC, all signed, they ain't fighting each other.
Yeah.
Keith Thurman has held a belt for like 4 years and fought 2 times. What the hell is that?
Part-time Thurman, Stormy.
I'm just saying, but when you see this kind of thing happening, and then a young brother like Hyphy can say what he said, he's not saying something to make somebody mad. He's speaking truth out here. Stop being a pencil head and open your eyes up and see what's really going on in the sport. If you stop paying attention to the superficial things that you don't have no effect on, talking about fighters' purses, talking about who they sign with, if you start talking about, I want to see this fight, I want to see this fight, I want to see this fight, then that's where the focal will be.
Yo,
but you can talk about contracts and everything. That money ain't gonna put no food on your table. This is sports and entertainment. You want to see the best. That's what you call for. You don't worry about the contracts and everything. It ain't got nothing to do with you.
Yeah, real talk, bro. Yo, B-Man, can I just quickly just say my piece?
Go ahead, Lost. Go ahead.
I'm gonna shut the fuck up. Sorry for swearing, bro. Me personally, I have Errol Spence. I have Terrence Bud Crawford as the better fighter. I have him more technical and skill wise. The only thing what scares me a little bit is Spence's them body shots, man. Them body shots, and he's a naturally bigger fighter than Terrence Bud Crawford. But just saying, just because you're bigger, like you said before, it doesn't mean that you're gonna win anything. I don't know, man. I like them both. I love them both. I think they're both two fantastic fighters. Bud's accomplished more in my eyes. And like you said before, you can adapt easier. I don't know. I've just got this funny feeling if them two ever meet. I seen Cal Brook against. I know. I'm not saying fucking Cal Brook's better than Terrence. I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking. Errol Spence come over here a couple of years ago. He wasn't known over here. I'd never heard of him. He come over here and he fought at the time. As much as Cal Brook's a fucking idiot and all that, Cal Brook at the time was a good fighter, man. He was a big welterweight as well. And Errol come over here and he beat him easy. I wouldn't say he beat him easy because the first half of the fight, I had Brook winning it, but Errol he adapted to the fight and he took over and he then. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I look at Crawford and I look at Spence, and it's like Matchstick Man versus bodybuilder to me. There's something about Errol Spence and them body shots, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Sorry, bro.
Hey, and before you know, anybody try to get mad or say, oh, I'm being a Spence hater, I could go home and grab my Spence ticket. I went to the fight, and I could grab my
Yes,
plane
you
ticket.
did, Ivy.
So
Yes, you
anybody,
did, bro.
yeah, so everybody can
I
shut
know
that up. But
bro.
yeah, like I said, all I said is, look, it's okay to be a fan of two different fighters, even if it ain't in the same weight class and they got to run into each other in class soon. It's okay to be a fan of two fighters. That's the point I'm trying to make. But people need to stop doing all this hating on one dude. Because like I said, if Earl Spence wasn't here, that'd be the dude y'all be loving and clamoring on to, because y'all wouldn't have no other black fighters, you know, at least in that division to even like. And then on top of that, you know, it's a lot of dudes who wasn't talking all this stuff until they started seeing the majority of people, you know, in LDBC, oh, you know, just giving Spence so much praise, and then they start following the same narrative so they could fit in.
You know what? Yeah. It's like this, man. You ever see something, you coming down the street and it's a crowd of people gathered and they all looking in one direction, right? And it's like something may have happened. Somebody got hurt, somebody was fighting, somebody got robbed, stuck up, whatever, fell down. But it's a crowd of people gathered and everybody looking, and it's a press of the crowd. You know what I do? I go the other way.
Yeah.
I go the other way.
Yes.
The Old Testament of the Bible talks about feet being too swift to mystery. When you are a part of a crowd, okay, and you can't think for yourself, then you are subjected to what that crowd is subjected to when your decisions are limited. Huh? When it says, okay, everybody's sharing the same brain, so this is where you're going to be, right here, in a box. And real fighters don't think like that. That's why they fighters. But somewhere along the line, people have gotten things misconstrued. Because in boxing, you got to fight. You got people talking about, oh, so-and-so scared of so-and-so. Somebody ducking so-and-so. They do that stuff because you allow it. You speak that into existence. You understand? You can have a guy running around saying, I'm the best, and holding a belt, right? And you look at him and you say, you ain't the best. You ain't fought that dude over there. You have immediately stripped him of everything. Because he ain't proven it to you yet. Till you walk across there and whoop that dude's ass over there, and you whoop that dude's ass over there, and you whoop that dude's ass over there, then you the best. Other than that, you just one of the rest.
Yep, that's true. That's very true. You know, I mean, like I said, you know, getting back to Crawford and Spence, man, I just want to see them fight. And we ask too much as fans for fighters, man. We want them to be stars, superheroes. We want them to take on the best. Every fight got to be a barn burner. You know, it's a little too much because you get used to it. You know, boxing has a rich culture and history, man. But you know, I just the fight will be made. I'm confident it will be. You know, and I can't wait.
And the funny thing about it, Curtis, is this: when you have elite fighters facing each other, rarely is it like a quick knockout or something, you know, or like one guy just beat the other guy down so bad it's like, man, it was not even a contest. Those are the mismatches that are always made along the way. But when you have elite facing elite, what happens is that fighter hones in, he dials in on everything that has brought him to this point, and he's looking, I got to wait for him to make a mistake. I got to capitalize on his mistake. I got to watch him. I got to keep on my P's and Q's. See why? Because he don't want to embarrass him. He knows that he can embarrass the other in person. But the thing is, you're now at that elite level. You're primed and honed to give the best of you can. Now, at some point, sometimes during those type of meetings, someone decides to survive. That's the guy who was never really the champion to begin with. Because when you want to prove you the best, you sell out. You sell out. You lay it out on the line. You say, okay, here comes the point where I'm going to challenge him and see if he really want it or not. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, look at Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, you look at Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe. Huh? These kind of fights where the fighter, Evander Holyfield, was like, either he gonna knock me out or I'm gonna knock him out. Okay? Hagler was the same way. And they're not the only two, but those are two that I just threw out there because their names are very hyped and popular. People got behind Mike Tyson because of the aura of the stuff he did. But Mike Tyson never showed you resiliency, being able to come back, being defeated and snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, damn near being knocked out and knocked the other guy out. He ain't never showed you that. When he went out, he went out. Mouthpiece backwards and everything, ass up. Matter of fact, I think when he ended his career, he sat there and looked at the ref and said, you could keep counting, I ain't getting up. Huh?
Hey, I'm gonna cook on that real quick. I remember when Tyson was sitting there, Charlie Steiner from ESPN said, you know, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. He talking about Mike, and all the King's men come put him back together again.
Yeah, man. And then people loved him. Oh, Mike Tyson, he's one of the top greats. How'd you think he would fare against Ali? He'd get his ass whooped. Muhammad Ali fought life and death with guys. Joe Frazier, one of the best hooks of all time in the heavyweight division, dropped Muhammad Ali in the 14th round. Muhammad Ali was up at the count of 3 in the 14th round.
Tyson didn't have that dog in him, man.
Mike Tyson?
Hagler.
You think he'd be worried about a punch of Mike Tyson? Man, Muhammad Ali, he'll have Mike Tyson shook. Just like he had Sonny Liston shook. He'd shook him. Because he knew he was a coward. Huh? George Foreman had Mike Tyson shook at 40 years old. Don King trying to make the fight. Tyson tells Don King, you think he's so, you fight him then. That's what Mike Tyson told Don King. 20 million wouldn't do it for him. No money would do it. He didn't want to get in there with George Foreman because he was afraid. Yeah, your boy, Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet. Yeah, he was afraid of George Foreman. Holyfield went toe-to-toe with Foreman. But y'all praised this guy.
I want to say something. Holyfield, as a man, his character was a lot better than Mike, and it transcended into the boxing ring. It showed you who was more man than who. You know, sometimes, man, people get caught up in the aura of a puncher, but, we seen Sonny Liston quit and we seen Mike Tyson quit. When a puncher, he relies on his power, and when he can't get you out of there, there's no plan B. And his interior is not as tough as a boxer, because a boxer can resort to plan B or C. Holyfield is one of the toughest fighters, man, that ever lived, man. Look at the 10th round with Bowe. Even though he lost that fight, that signifies his career. It's indicative of his career. I mean, that one round will tell you what kind of fighter he was, man. Holyfield was a great fighter. And we don't talk about Holyfield as a cruiserweight. He was unbeatable,
Hey, Kurt, hold on 1 second. We got a comment in the chat there, Derek Bailey. What's up, Derek Bailey? I respect I respect you for coming by here, but I got this to say. He said, whoa, Stormy B man, get off Mike back. No, Derek Bailey, whoa, Mike Tyson, get up off your back. Huh? Because he was on the canvas. Huh? He
That's
got
a
his
body.
butt whooped several times and never got up and finished the fight. He never got up and finished the fight. Holyfield was knocked down and got back up and fought back. Mike never got up and fought back. Never. Even in your conscious thinking right now, you wish Mike had done these things, but he didn't. Teddy Atlas told you guys about him years ago. You didn't want to believe it. Huh?
That's true.
He told you. He told you the truth about him. You didn't want to believe it. Mike is going on tours and stuff, did a Broadway show and everything. He told you the truth. You still don't want to believe it. That aura was so strong that it's just like people who following this guy in the White House. That aura. It's like, oh, MAGA, huh? They're going to lead you right down the drain. It's crazy.
Mike didn't like resistance, man. You put up, you know, and I argue with a lot of people, and they have an excuse for Mike. There's he would have beaten Holyfield, and this year I'll be like, he wouldn't have beat Holyfield in no year, because Holyfield, can get knocked down, gather himself, get back up, and fight harder that same round. That's who he was. Mike can't do that. Mike can start caving in. Mike can start regressing as a fighter. Certain fighters, when they get hit, man, it doesn't bode well for them. It's a mental thing. They fall apart.
Hey, Kurt, you never said it more true. Tell these viewers and the listeners and everybody out there who listening and didn't make a comment or whatever because they peeping through the bushes and peeping through the curtains and blinds, too scared to put their name in the chat so you can see that they came and hear some real boxing talk. For the Mike Tyson fans out there, when he fought Evander Holyfield the first time, and Holyfield stood up to him at the end of the first round, he hit Holyfield after the bell. Holyfield hit his ass back. He turned around and smiled at Holyfield. Okay, then a few rounds later, I think it was round 5 or 6, Holyfield giving it to him really good. Tyson is like, oh, he realized Holyfield ain't going nowhere. Then the crowd start chanting, Holyfield, Holyfield. All the fight went out of Mike. Everything went out. Holyfield hit him with an uppercut to the chest, and he went down. An uppercut to the chest, and he went down. Okay? All the fight taken from the guy.
I'm gonna tell you this too, man. Mike was a good fighter, but he was a very flawed fighter because he was flawed character wise as a man. How you are outside the ring sometimes will show in the ring. Holyfield was a strong guy who was quiet, had a quiet arrogance to him, which you need, and it showed in the ring. And this goes back to the amateur days where people, wanted to see Tyson Holyfield fight, and Tyson came in there with that Brooklyn attitude, snatched the pool stick from Holyfield, or Holyfield snatched it back, saying, nah, Tyson was, punking everybody, but he couldn't punk Evander. You know what I mean? And it just came to fruition when they fought twice. Tyson ran his head right into Holyfield in one fight, in the first fight, and then started complaining to the doctor. I thought he was about to quit. Remember, he was about to go down. Then he said, nah. And then the second fight, Holyfield hurt him with a short right hook. It was beautiful, right on the chin. And Mike's knees buckled. And then Mike bit Holyfield to get out the fight. So hey, I like Mike, what he brought to boxing. He brought boxing back to prominence, but Holyfield was always a lot better than Mike. Always.
There's a few fighters of that generation that were better than Mike. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, he was the greatest spectacle. He put boxing back in the limelight as far as spectacle. It was an event to go to one of his fights where you could see him dust some guy in 90 seconds or whatever who was afraid to death of him. But it's funny how everybody got courageous after Buster Douglas, and they realized, oh, maybe it is something that there's something there cooking, and he knew it too.
Hey, Stormy.
Yeah, Kevin Rooney.
Yeah.
Stormy, he hurt me.
Yeah, man. When he's sitting there after he fought Lennox Lewis in the first round of their fight, Lennox had hit him with a real good uppercut. He goes back to the corner and he tells Ronnie Shields, "He hurt me, Ronnie." Ronnie was like, "Man, it's a fight. He gonna hurt you, Mike. You gotta toughen up." You know, it's like, what was Ronnie Shields gonna do? He tell Ronnie Shields, "He hurt me." You damn right. He trying to knock your damn head off, dude. It's a fight.
Hey, I want everybody on the panel, make some noise if y'all want to see Robert Easter or Barthélemy ever fight again.
Hell no. Nah, man. You couldn't pay me to go to one of his fights.
I'd rather drink a bottle of Father John's cough syrup, and that's the nastiest stuff in the world to me, man. And I know Robert Easter, I don't even want to see his photograph no more, man. I don't know. That was those two guys, they should be, you know what? Everybody should get a month free subscription for cable TV watching that mess, man. Oh no, that was ridiculous.
That was terrible, man. I always thought Robert Easter was a high level bum. I always thought that. Against Fortuna, Shakarov, Kami, I always thought that. I never thought he was that good. Never. But Barthélemy either. He looking like a chicken in the ring with that hairstyle, man. Yeah, man. I don't. Nah, man.
You know, we got a question in the chat from Willie Beecham. He says, Tyson hit over a handful of fighters after the bell. In your opinion, was that intentional or was he just into the fight? I'll let you answer that, Kurt.
It was intentional. That was part of his shtick. You know, Tyson wanted you to be mentally, psychologically afraid. So he lived off that. You know, that was part of it. Tyson used to elbow people. He elbowed Biggs. You know, he elbowed Spinks. You know, then you was even more afraid because you'd be like, this guy would do anything, you know, in the ring. He's crazy. You know, that buys into the Tyson lore. You know, Bruce Seldon was scared. I still say that was a phantom punch. You know, but Holyfield wasn't scared. Holyfield wasn't scared, man. I mean, you know, then people say, oh, man, you know, it was Robin Givens and Kevin Rooney, and if this was Tyson in '88, he would have beat him. No, he wouldn't. Now Holyfield wasn't a good fighter. Holyfield was a great fighter. Tyson ain't beating him. Bad matchup for Mike.
Yeah. There was always writing on the wall from guys who took Tyson the distance early on, too. You remember guys like James Quick Tillis and Tony Tucker and those kind of guys, Mitch Green, you know, those guys who were tough enough to fight back, you know. They may not have been world beater fighters, but they had enough to fight back. Now, if you put talent with that, let alone greatness, you're looking at defeats for Mike Tyson, which is exactly what he ran into when he later faced the likes of Holyfield. Buster Douglas on one night became great, and Lennox Lewis was going to be great. So there you have it. Yeah, Derek Bailey mentioned Jose Ribalta. Yeah, Jose Ribalta could fight back. He had the intestinal fortitude, just didn't have that talent that was that elite level talent. But he, again, a guy with a good heartbeat. And when I say good heartbeat, that just means that he has intestinal fortitude to fight back, he could get a lot done in today's boxing because there's not a lot of brave men out there. There's not.
Nope.
Look at Keith Thurman. He thought he was taking Josecito Lopez as a tune-up. I can't say the guy's name very well. Josecito Lopez, he tuned up Keith Thurman. And what the dude do after that? Go right back on vacation again. He didn't go back to the gym and say, man, I need to buckle down and get my stuff together again. No, he done went back out. He out there playing the flute, you know, and he out there, you know, hopping islands and everything. He ain't thinking about fighting. But he'd come back and take this man on and say, this is a tune-up. All that talking he did at the face-off and everything, he telling the man to his face, you're not on my level, son. You're not on my level, son. Who was in there running away from the guy?
Hey, well, if he ain't on his level, I got somebody that's on his level. Crawford.
Man, these dudes ain't cut like that, man. Tank, and there's another one, Andrade. I don't like the way Charlo career is going. Matter of fact, he's fighting June 29th. Again, his brother's fighting 6 days before him, you know, and the 23rd, and the middleweight Charlo, Jamal fighting June 29th against Brandon Adams. Somebody else is on that card, man. Oh, Marcus Brown. You know, so you know we got fights for June and July, man. That looks pretty good, man. So, you know, tomorrow and next week, you know. But Tyson, man, I like what he did for boxing, but he wasn't the fighter you thought he was.
Hey, and let me point out something that I caught on to earlier when y'all was talking. All of the stuff that, you know, some of the things that y'all was saying about Jacobs, as far as like his flaws, that's some of the same stuff we were saying about Amir a couple weeks ago. Fighter, athletic fighter, you know, he got length and all that. His biggest flaw, ring IQ.
Yeah.
Yep.
And coincidental, he messed with the snack program, and he worked under Virgil Hunter before.
See, there you go. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm from a different era. I believe that a lot of these guys, you know, they're waving checkered flags, but they haven't crossed any finish lines, man. Seriously. You know, and it's a shame when every participant get handed a flag. Well, what's the purpose of a race? Huh? If you just gonna hand out straps to everybody, trophies to everybody, what's the whole point?
Well, that's what you got all of these that's what all these interim and silver titles. It's always like some random belt they making up on an undercard fight. Next thing you know, this is like some interim fight or title fight. It's like a dude you don't even know, and he's fighting a complete bomb with like a 24-6 record, and he's winning a WBA silver title. I don't even know where they get these dudes from, homie.
Well, how about this though? Canelo signed that huge deal with DAZN and everything, right? Why did they let him fight that first fight against that guy that didn't even belong in the ring with him? Why was that even sanctioned, man? He hit the guy kind of hard, and the guy look over at the people in the corner and say, should I go down now? You know, it was ridiculous.
That's
what the hell is that?
The dude furry about the fight, that's his brother, Tom Schwartz and Rocky Fielding. They brothers.
and what's his name? This Tyson Fury, he getting ready. He announced that he needs, Bob Arum announced rather, that he needs a couple of more tune-ups. Not tune-ups. He should just say, we're gonna feed him a couple more bums, huh? That's what they should say, because they're not putting him in any competitive matches. That's the kind of thing people need to be talking about. What kind of mess is that, man?
Yep.
All these.
Lost D, you still out there, brother? We don't want to forget about you, man. You out there?
Yeah, still here, bro.
You got something you want to contribute, man? We just burning bridges out here on these old fighters that, you know. You got something to say?
I missed what you were saying, bro. I was just outside having a cigarette.
Oh, okay. Well, we're just
Sorry,
talking,
bro.
you know, just we can ask the chat if anybody got questions out there. They got something they want to say, any subjects you guys want to touch on, because we've been cooking for a minute on this other stuff.
Somebody asked about the fight next weekend.
Which match?
The main event, Hurd versus Williams.
Oh yeah,
I'm going for Hurd, me.
Jarrett Hurd. You know what, Jarrett Hurd, man. I want to see more boxing ability from him. We know he can take shots. We know he's strong and everything at the weight, but I want to see some more skill from the guy.
B-Man, what belts does he hold? Is it WBA and something else?
It's is it the IBF?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, that's correct. So you got 2 belts.
The IBF and WBA, right?
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, he beat, he took the belt, the WBA from Lara, but then we just seen in March Lara fighting this Castaño guy for some interim belt. Now, who had really even heard of Castaño before that fight? That's what I be talking about, man.
Not me. I've never heard of him.
That I know who he is. That Hurd and J-Rock fight can be interesting, man. I'm starting to get a feeling, man. I think Hurd's gonna win, but J-Rock has a very educated, good counter right hand, straight down the pipe, boom. And if he can like really fight smart as well and not get hit with a lot of stuff, because Hurd is the type of guy that wears you down. He wins by war of attrition. And if J-Rock can lessen the punishment in the first 5 rounds, the fight could be very interesting. Maybe Hurd is looking past J-Rock. I like Hurd. He can box. I seen him early in his career before he became known. He fought Frank Galarza. He was the underdog. They both was undefeated. He boxed and knocked out Galarza. But, I like the matchup. J-Rock, is a good boxer, but he just doesn't have the power to keep Hurd off him. That's the biggest key right there. Hurd's going to keep coming forward, going to his body, throwing uppercuts, wearing him down, man. So I like Hurd by 9th or 10th round TKO, but it could be interesting too.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, that rematch between Harrison and Charlo also.
Man, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with Charlo and his approach to this fight. Because, he thought he won the first fight. A lot of people did. But will he be able to change things up effectively enough to garner more support?
He better learn how to box, because I don't want to hear. And still, champion Tony Harrison, they treated me again. I'm retired from boxing. This ain't right. Because they that type of people, Charlos, man, they'll cry, and they done cried in the ring. Keep your emotions intact, man. Keep your emotions intact. He has to go out there and box and not load up on everything, man, because that knockout with Hadley and Lubin, it was bad for him, man, because now he think he can knock out everybody. He used to box. he has to go out there and box, man, and watch out for that Harrison sneaky right hand too, because Harrison was just missing him with it. So, you know, man, I can't wait for that fight. That fight is going to be on a Sunday night, and it's going to be on Fox, you know, free network TV. So that's going to be a weird but a good feel to it, boxing on a Sunday, and that's a big fight, man. So got a lot of fights coming up, man. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's the one thing. It's like having the quality. You know, we're having fights in quantity, and every once in a while we're getting quality. The quality is not at the top of the class yet, though. It's like, okay, I remember earlier in the week there was some talk about her calling out, you know, Charlo next, you know, saying, oh, he wants him bad and this and that after the Harrison fight and after his fight. But I'm like, dude, you could have made that fight already. What you talking about? He didn't have to go in there and fight Harrison. He could have fought you. You know, that's the kind of thing we're talking about, man. Delaying and delaying, and then things happen, and then guys lose, and now the fight doesn't have that same luster.
Yep.
That kind of foolishness, man. It sets the sport back. These guys are already making more money than, you know, fighters from a different generation was making. You know, it's like, so they're not hungry. They don't have that sense of wanting to defend their honor and things like that, or their place in history, or their place in the sport presently, or whatever. It's just like, you know, and they think that we should just accept this foolishness.
Hey, Kurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, I do want to get you and Lodge's like a little bit of recap, as far as you guys' assessment on Prograis and Strata victories from last weekend.
Oh, Prograis, man, got dog in him, man. You're gonna have to knock him out. He's short, but he's built like a German tank, man. You know, stout, man, too, man, strong. I think he's strong mentally too. Got a lot of confidence. Good body puncher, man. Breaks you down as well, man. I like Prograis a lot. You know, his claim to fame is will be the winner of Taylor Barancha. We're gonna see how good he is, man. But Prograis is the real deal. And Estrada can box, but run for side balance is terrible, man. He's a strong, crude fighter, but he has a lot of flaws, a very flawed fighter, off balance, man. And, you know, telegraphing his punches, he was sloppy. So he made it easy for El Gallo to beat him, Estrada, that is. So, let's see if they fight a rubber match, which I'm hearing they're gonna do. So
Yeah, I didn't like that switch hitting. That was like the worst switch hitting I've ever seen.
Mm. So, what was the if you can kind of give me a little bit hypey, I'll check out the full thing on my own. But what was the consensus of what Wilder had to offer?
I'm gonna tell you like this: how that interview went, it didn't even feel like, you know, you was having an interview. That seemed like two dudes on the phone having a conversation, and these dudes was, you know, really talking. Wilder's just such a real dude like that. And you know, the interview was supposed to be shorter, but Wilder, you know, he wanted to keep going on and keep going on because he had a lot to say, and you know, he had everybody entertained. So when you hear a Wilder interview, I'm just gonna say that interview because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But when you hear that interview, it's gonna, you know, be way different than all these other dudes you used to interviewing. I'm gonna put it like that.
Well, I tell you like this, man. I always did like Deontay Wilder, you know, um, as a you know what he did, knocking people out in the ring, because it's like he go in there to end it, right? I like that. I always felt he was like a little wild with it and everything. But man, when he stepped to that guy seconds out, you know, Radio Raheem, when he stepped to that guy that day, I said, this is my man right here. This is my man. Because the thing about it, Deontay Wilder is a real person. He's a real man. and he represents himself as such. He doesn't come off as somebody that's being manipulated or controlled, or he's operating from out of some kind of capsule or something like that. And I could just imagine him sitting on that dais when that guy over there, Barry Hearns, was saying what he was saying. And if Deontay Wilder was sitting there, I could just imagine how that wouldn't have ended well for Hearn at all, or Matchroom, or the people over there in that auditorium or whatever. It would have been some ambulances and hospital visits that day, I'm sure, if Deontay Wilder was sitting in the presence of that mess.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to the interview, man, see what Deontay has to say. May 18th, when he fights, that's a big boxing day. Because you got the Japanese Inoue versus Rodriguez, and Taylor versus Baranchik. Then that night, you got Wilder in Brazil. It's always exciting to see Wilder back in the ring, because you saying to yourself, your mind saying, what round he going to take him out in? Because he got that type of aura, that one punch, one hit a quitter, So when it's all said and done, Deontay Wilder will go down as one of the hardest hitting heavyweight champions in history, along with Joe Louis, Sonny Liston, and Ernie Shavers, and George Foreman, and Mike Tyson.
Hey, Stormy, I really liked, I can't remember whose channel you was on, but you gave your assessment of Inoue sometime this week, and I was like, damn, that was spot on. You was the only one who went against the grain, but you was spot on. I like that.
Well, you know me, I say things that are not popular a lot of the times, but I think we was on with Kurt's show. That was Kurt Sugar versus the World earlier in the week, and yeah, I just, that's what I see, because a lot of times guys can get away with that stuff nowadays because most are not honing their technique. They're not zeroing in. That's why Crawford is so special. You put a guy like that, I know he's not in the same weight class as Crawford, but I'm just saying, you put a guy like that in there with Crawford, right? Crawford gonna eat him up because he's wide open. He's wide open like a window. Like you took the glass out of the frame of the window and the breeze is just blowing in the house and the curtains is flapping and everything. That's him. And yeah, he might have a little pop on his punch or whatever, but what about what's coming back? Let's see some guys hit him back. A guy that could take his shot and give his shot. Huh? Then you're going to see the truth. He's going to be laying on the canvas like some of the other guys before him. It's been plenty of them. Prince Nassim, he had a good punch, right? But he was wide open all the time. And he paid for it a number of times, but he didn't get defeated until you had a more disciplined fighter in there that just would whoop his butt for the entire duration of a fight. And that was Barrera, But Kevin Kelly was supposed to get him. Who else was that? Kurt Kennedy McKinney was supposed to get him.
Right.
These good fighters. They didn't stay on their keys. But that's what's supposed to happen. When somebody is wide open like that, you have to have someone that is willing to stand in the fire, stand in the center of the eye of the storm, the eye of the tornado, and give his too. That's what Holyfield did against Mike Tyson. Buster Douglas boxed Mike Tyson. Evander Holyfield fought Mike Tyson. He fought him. Two different things.
Let me interject. Hey, Laz, you still there?
Yeah, I think Laz is snoring, bro.
He's asleep, man.
I knew I heard snoring.
Yeah, because it's like, what, 4 or 5 in the morning in the UK?
Yeah. Hey, he was over there watching a Vladimir Klitschko fight and fell asleep. Oh, man. This is classic. I love it.
Oh man, I'm glad my man came on with us, but I'll mute his mic for right now.
Yeah, but I definitely like what you were saying though. You know, Stormy, you know, Anui, you said it perfectly. He seems to be like a monstrous puncher, but at the same time, he ain't got hit with a monstrous punch coming back to him yet, and you know that's the question mark about the dude.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like offense in the NFL or even in the NBA, right? People love to see the three, they love to see the dunk and the moves and the touchdown pass or the running back break free or the receiver catch something and run. They love that aspect, okay? But the defensive end of that, the one who stops all that, okay? That's the person that takes the air out of the crowd and the crowd goes silent and everything. Oh, it was a touchdown pass, but then, what's the name? Primetime knocked the ball away at the last second, And they're like, oh, the crowd go like that. But there's primetime lovers out there be like, yeah, primetime. You understand? So it's like when that guy's wide open and he's doing what he's doing, but you got on the receiving end, people cowering, covering up, taking punishment. There's no resistance. How is that great? That's not great. What's great is you do all that, a guy could take it, give you some back, and you take it, and you might stumble or whatever. Now you in the mix of things. You turn it up, you giving it back to him, and y'all going back and forth. Now it's a rock and roll event. Now it's something. It ain't something because you was just smashing somebody. Go out there and smash some smashers, huh? Then we could
Yep,
talk about something.
yep. That's what Paul Williams used to always
Tommy
say.
Tommy Hearns got more respect getting knocked out by Hagler than he possibly would have got if he beaten Hagler. Because he fought him, The best man won, but it was like, could you imagine Tommy Hearns clinching and holding for 12 rounds? There's no honor in that. He went out on his shield. And now he's part of one of the greatest fights in middleweight history or whatever, the three greatest rounds in boxing history. He was on losing
Absolutely.
end, but he was in the game. He was in there.
Tommy got a lot of respect, man. He hurt Marv, man. Even though he lost to Leonard the first time at Hagler, he put punishment on them. He took a lot of fight out of Hagler, and he knocked Ray into retirement. He detached his retina, and Hearns, man, you was in a fight with Hearns. I'll tell you that. Ask Duran,
Whew,
so
that left hand.
yep. So he Tommy Hearns was something else, man. First 5 division weight champion in boxing history.
And he fought real fighters in those 5 weight divisions. He didn't fight like, guys that get put me in coach, huh?
Rocky Fieldings.
Yeah, and 4 weight division champion. He was the first to do that too.
Hey,
I'm,
Kurt, you remember James the Heat Kitchen?
Yeah,
Man,
I thought Kitchen beat Hearns.
yeah, that's what I'm
He not.
saying. Fighting guys like that,
Yeah, he was tough, man. He was tough.
man.
James Heat Kitchen can fight, man, and that was for the first WBO champion. They gave it to Tommy, but I thought Kitchen won. Yeah, James the Heat Kitchen,
Yeah, it was a
tough
fight,
fighter,
man.
man.
That was a fight.
I'm gonna answer these 3 questions like I guess together. Willie Beecham, he's asking, how would Thurman do against Pacquiao? I actually think Pacquiao will win, and then he wants to know Thurman versus Porter rematch. Honestly, I don't think that's ever gonna happen because if you look at the fights these guys are both rumored to be fighting against next, it's common sense. Both them dudes is 1 foot out the door. They about to retire after their last fights. But Kurt and Stormy, y'all could take this one. He said, "What advice would you give the fighters of this generation?"
I'll let Kurt go first.
That's a tough one, huh?
Be a
It's so
man,
simple but
goddamn
tough.
it.
It's not tough for me. It's not tough for me.
Me
It's just
neither.
that I might be a little long-winded.
Listen, man, you know, we could say this and that, but these fighters, I don't know if it's a chemical makeup, psychological makeup, but they ain't what they used to be, the fighters, man. They don't have the heart, they don't have the grit or determination, man. Only few fighters left today have that. You know, Crawford is one of them, you know, but it ain't many. You know, it ain't many. You know, Pacquiao, I got a strange feeling Pacquiao gonna beat Thurman. I just do. I don't know. I don't know why. I just do. I think he's gonna out hustle Thurman. You know, and I don't like Thurman in the second half of the fight. He tried to put it in cruise control. And Pacquiao is a warrior, man. He's one of the few fighters that has grit and determination. That's why he's a special fighter, man. And he's gonna press the fight. I like Pacquiao by unanimous decision. I don't think there's gonna be a Porter Thurman rematch because Thurman lose, he got the bag. He ain't coming back. That's it. You know, he ain't coming back. You know, he might as well give up his championship, man. You know, Thurman, I thought he was a good fighter, but he don't got the heart, man. I see that now. He let Earl Spence run him off the block. You know, so, you know, the same with Porter, even though Porter's fighting him now, because he don't got nowhere to go, so he has to, you know, that Spence that is, but, you know, I don't think it's going to be a rematch, and I think Pacquiao going to beat Thurman, you know, so that's the way I look at it.
Well, I also feel that Pacquiao is going to whoop Thurman's behind, and he's probably going to. Pacquiao is a he's going to be a Hall of Fame fighter when it's all said and done. But Pacquiao has fought better fighters than what Keith Thurman is, and he's beaten better fighters than what Keith Thurman is. Pacquiao has fought and defeated better fighters than Keith Thurman has fought himself. So, with all things being said, and Keith Thurman not being an active fighter, not being a guy on his P's and Q's and everything, and kind of living on the fringe edges of the sport, Pacquiao is looking for a window. And he still has hunger. He still has fire in his belly. He showed that when he fought AB. There's nothing that Keith Thurman can do to deter him. Has he been hit hard before? Yes. Has he been knocked down before? Yes. Has he been knocked out before? Yes. Has he been cut? Yes. So what does he have to feel in Keith Thurman? A multi-division champ like he is. He's an old lion looking to put this younger lion on his back. And that's how I see that. As far as the other question, what advice would I give fighters of this generation? Number one, train. Train when you got a fight lined up. Train when you don't have a fight lined up. Fight several times a year. You need to get in that ring. You need to feel the heat. You need to feel the fire of someone gunning for you and keep the fire stoking for you gunning for someone else. Otherwise, you don't need to be out there doing it at all because it's a business that you can be killed in that ring. Third, for those who fight at weight classes, meaning under the heavyweight division, stay 15 pounds within your fight weight. Stay 15 pounds within your fight weight. And stop all of this shrinking your body down so you can fight at lower weight classes and have size advantages over guys and all of that foolishness and fight around your real weight class. Third, another thing, when you're in there, meaning in the sport, you have to have something to offer. You understand? Are you going to be a fighter? You're going to be a boxer? You're going to be a defensive specialist? You got to define who you are. Why are you doing this? And also get somebody who know what they doing with you in the gym. Not them guys who have a towel draped over their shoulder and slapping the pads with you to these rhythmic motions and these combinations and all of that. That ain't boxing. You have to learn how to keep your feet a certain distance apart and everything. The old trainers used to take real long shoestrings that they would tie boxing boots up with and tie your ankles together so that you had to keep that string taut between your feet as you move around in the ring. Shadow boxing, sparring, because if that string was taut, that's the distance that your feet should be apart. For balance, you get hit a shot, you could take a step back or you can stumble back, whatever. You don't just go down. These guys all fight today like they doing a split, like Van Damme style in the ring. Legs so far apart, they can't generate no power on their punches, and they can't get out of the way of punches. And you wonder what's wrong with their defense. Stop keeping them low guards because you saw Roy Jones Jr. doing it, and you saw Floyd Mayweather doing a shoulder roll or whatever. You can't do a shoulder roll when you're standing 3 or 4 feet away from the opponent. He's going to hit you with a clean, straight shot. You have to know what the purpose of a shoulder roll defense is. It's not a boxing posture. It's a defensive maneuver to put yourself in a position to throw counter shots and to slip, catch, shoot, parry shots in close, in fighting. Guys who walk around there with their hands hanging low and everything, if you fight anybody good, the last thing you're going to see is the lights above the ring because you're going to be laying on your back. If you fight the right guy, if you fight somebody who's good. All this stuff, I'm telling you, man, the advice that I would have for fighters of today, there's not enough time left in this show. I haven't even scratched the surface. Boxing used to be called a gentleman's sport because you could go in there, look a man in the eye, shake him in the hand, and say, hey, may the best man win because I'm coming for you, partner. A gentleman's sport because they were men. Men carry themselves like gentlemen. Men who don't behave like gentlemen are less than and have less respect. How many of them out there today would you call a gentleman in a gentleman's sport? It's the real deal. I'm not talking out my ass. I'm telling you the facts. If you carry yourself with dignity and aplomb and pride, you're going to represent and fight like that in that ring because you dare somebody to try to take that from you. Are you ready to put it on the line? You facing that other guy down. You know he ain't done the work you done in the gym. You know it. He was on Twitter all night long from the bar or the stripper club or something with the Instagram models. Huh? While you was sparring in that gym and you was getting your technique down and hitting that bag and doing your world work, that's what he was doing, Tank Davis. Huh? Throwing back, slamming back those drinks, huh? But he the best in the world. Y'all think he could beat Lomachenko. Silly rabbits. He know he can't beat Lomachenko. That's why he won't even say his name. Lomachenko know he can't beat him. Nor can any of those other young ones that y'all been putting their names out there. That man is an accomplished fighter. He's not a pushover. And there ain't nothing that any of them young fools can do with him that he ain't seen before. But if you were right about your game in the sport that you participating in, you could develop yourself to be able to defeat someone like that. But just because you hit hard, please. Just because you think you got a hard punch. I keep telling you, these guys, they getting fed tomato cans and banana squash and all of that stuff, building careers off of that. Championship Charmin types, huh? Plush, no subs. But you want to ask, what advice do I have for the fighters of the day? We can continue this another time, because I got plenty more. How about tell them to sit their asses down and watch some real fighters from a different generation to see how it was really done? You want to go out there and be the best? Start fighting people who, when you go in there, you don't know if you're going to come out victorious or not. And maybe with the aspect of defeating people who were thought or touted to possibly beat you, defeat you, you gain confidence. Then with confidence, you gain the strength and the understanding and the experience of knowing that you can persevere, that you can overcome, you can beat odds. That's something to build on. And if you suffer a loss, run it back. Go back to the drawing board, go back to the gym, work on your deficiencies, and come back and get that win back. Rocky Marciano retired 49-0, undefeated. Lennox Lewis retired undisputed champion of the world with the distinction of having defeated every man he faced in professional boxing in the ring. That's every bit as good as 49-0. Because even those that he lost, he rematched and he defeated them. He was the better man. He was able to come back and prove himself better than he that defeated him. How many others can say that? What advice do I have for any fighters out there? I got a lot of more, bro. I got a lot of more.
When I read that question, I kind of got scared because I was like, damn, we could do a whole show on this.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm hinting at. Because you see, what I'm saying here is real boxing talk. It's not sugar-coated. It's like it has nothing to do with any particular individual, but you're talking about whoever may be participating. And somebody out there mentioned church. Yeah, like they said, church, when it hit your foot, you just say, ouch, huh? Because it's true, man. You don't play boxing. You play all these other sports, but you don't play boxing.
We could let Kurt go before I just get my little 2 cents on it.
You got something for us, Kurt?
Yeah, I cooked on it before you.
Okay, go ahead, Hyphy. You do your thing now.
Well, look, I ain't even got nothing else to add to that because y'all didn't, said it great before me. All I'm gonna just say is what y'all just said. That's pretty much the reason why I don't even be in these chats and on these panels no more. Like I said, it's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be said, but you know, dudes want to focus on dumb stuff. Oh shoot, did you see did Tank baby mama that he messing with? Did y'all see AB, that chain he bought? Bruh, all these fighters need work, and y'all be worrying about dumb stuff. Anthony Yard, he gonna get 4 million. Man, all these fighters need work, man. That's why I don't even like talking to dudes. This the only panel I hop on. I don't even be in the chats no more. I don't even care about these. They all work. That's why I don't even care about, man. I'm done.
Yeah. So, you know, with that being said, man, it's like I have a passion for the sport that is not understood because I see it from an angle, man. And I don't have a special perch or anything like that. It just means that my passion about the sport goes a lot deeper than this surface stuff. Right now, America, the world is surface barely scratched the surface of things. Wants to dig deep. Nobody wants to understand the soil, the foundation of how this stuff is built. What makes a person a man? What makes a person a woman? What person resolve and constitution? Nobody want to hear that. They don't want to know that. That's why you got teenagers that can commit suicide, huh? Not even knowing what life is, but they want to end it. Oh, he didn't want to be my friend, so I'm going to take my life. You know how weak that is? And it's not weak from a point of mentality. It's weak because there's nothing inside. And that's the people raising in the environment that they're coming up in. I told you when I was coaching and training, everything that I did with principles for life, you could take those values outside into your workplace, into your family life, into how you carry yourself on the street daily and walk chin high and stout strong because you have a foundation to stand on. Conviction. These people lack substance today. They don't have anything. They empty vessels, man. That's why somebody could say something. They, oh yeah, yeah, okay, oh yeah, yeah, I think like that too. Yeah, you know, they don't have a mind of their own. Why did you do that? I don't know. So yeah, man, this is, you know, this is what it is. And in boxing, it's one-on-one. Can't call timeout, even though Amir Khan was looking for a timeout. He didn't even realize I'm in a boxing match. I can't call timeout. You know, Virgil, can you help me? Huh? You want me to stop it? You really want me to stop it? You sure? You want me to stop it? Foolishness. He got in there and got hit with the first couple of punches and realized, I done fucked up now. That's what happened. Those other rounds was just, you know, appetizers and everything, but he had already swallowed the main course in that first round, and he knew he didn't want no more. It's prize fighting, man. And then Crawford was going for that prize. Huh? His throat, his blood. Did you see the boy after the fight? I don't think the ref threw a damn punch in the whole match, but it looked like that boy had got mugged in the alley by somebody. He fought 8 rounds against Canelo. He didn't look like that. He had looked like he'd been in a tussle. Somebody was hitting him. Anyway, everybody is silent now. I can't get my panel to talk no more. Lars D done went to sleep on me and everything.
I was
I'm
letting
waiting for
it
you to
cook.
pause, bro.
Yeah,
I
I
ain't gonna
knew.
talk over you.
I told you I was long-winded with that one, man, because when he asked that question, you know, it did something to me because I realized, you know, what that is. You know, it's not something that can be explained away very simply.
I knew you was gonna be long-winded on that one, but you know, like I said, that we could do a whole 2-hour panel on that. But I guess I do got a question, from both of y'all before we get up out of here. So we about to get up out of here. Hey, send me and the rest of the panel, send us away with one fight that y'all recommend us watch if we got some time this week.
Okay, I'll recommend to Derek Jefferson versus Maurice Harris. Watch that fight. And that's a friend of mine too, Maurice. He from Newark. He don't like when I bring it up though, but he get this long face when I run into him. But it was on HBO. Derek Jefferson versus Maurice Harris.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man. Matter of fact, that fight is in my my video intro.
Yeah, I know.
But,
Yep.
yeah, I'm not gonna say which video intro, but it's in there. But it's a great fight, man. It was one of those fights that I think old crazy Larry Merchant, he was yelling and screaming when the fight was over. He was saying some stuff. I was like, they got that old man. I think he had a boner after that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was a really good scrap, man. It was a very good scrap. A fight that I can recommend. Simon Brown and Vincent Petway.
Okay. I see you. I see you on that. That was tremendous.
Yes, sir. Simon Brown and Vincent Petway. So if you guys haven't never seen that one, go check it out.
Oh, and Kurt, I haven't talked to you, but I do want to point out just another amazing fact that Chacon versus Lamone fight.
Yeah.
Another great thing that was just amazing about that fight, if you watch it to the very end, you would hear the announcer say, okay, now we will get ready for our next fight. So that was an undercard fight.
It was crazy.
Right?
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
Hey, last question before we get up out of here. So if we taking a break from boxing and it's time to watch some kung fu, what movie you recommended? One.
I would say Mystery of Chess Boxing.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Stormy.
Did you see the one that I recommended to you so far yet, or no?
No, I haven't. But yeah, go ahead, throw it out there.
Okay. Another one that I could throw your way is, I just watched this one recently. It was pretty good. Kung Fu, the Invincible Fist. That's Chen Sing in that old school guy with the mustache, Charles Bronson, Chinese guy. Kung Fu, the Invisible Fist. I'm sorry, I said invincible. The Invisible Fist. Kung Fu, the Invisible Fist.
Okay, and I'm asking this, now because I'm starting to see that it's other people out there that watch kung fu. We just haven't, probably talked about kung fu with them yet. But it's other people out there around us.
Oh yeah, I want to say this message to the chat. Please, before you guys leave, please hit the like button so we can keep the likes up high. I know there were some people who hung with us the full show. I appreciate and love you all for doing that. And here on the Stormy B-Man channel, we do talk kung fu too. Everybody on this panel, Hyphy, Kurt, and myself especially, we know kung fu. We love kung fu. So if you guys want to jump in on that sometime, we got no problem. Got no problem at all, because we are kung fu film fans, big time, here on the Stormy B-Man channel. Old school.
Absolutely.
So with that, guys, I want to say that this was a very interesting chop session, we had a chance to talk some very good points of boxing, the finer points of the sport, and some of its participants. I want to say shout out to everyone who joined us this evening. The panel tonight was excellent. Loz D, I think we caught him into the wee hours and he went to sleep on us, but I didn't boot him out. I kept him with us because, you know, I just wanted to make sure he was there. But Kurt, I appreciate your contributions as always. Hyphy, you my man when you're thinking behind the scenes and right alongside me, and I appreciate everything you do with and for me to help my channel. And the channel is growing. I stated earlier that my subs have gone up from like 140 something to 100 and almost 170. I think I'm like 3 away from 170 now. So just in the past 30 days. So it's you know, I love the support that I'm getting, and I think that you two gentlemen have really helped me a lot, and you've brought people along for the ride because they know that you are out there with other channels and everything. And I don't go in other people's chats trying to hype my channel. I just appreciate it over here talking about. And I love you brothers for doing that and supporting me with that. So I really appreciate that. And I'll turn it over to you two guys so you guys can give your final words. And as we sign off the broadcast, I want you guys to stay on the you know, stay on, don't disconnect, okay?
Yep. Yeah, I'll give my last words, man. It's a great stream tonight. You know, I thank the chat for tuning in, spending their precious time with us to talk about this boxing that we love so much. You know, thank Hyphy, man, does a lot behind the scenes. Thanks for inviting me, Stormy B, man. You know, join us tomorrow for the 3 Wise Men in Boxing, 1 o'clock Eastern. And like I always say, we'll see you again, same bat time, same bat channel.
Hey, well, let me go ahead and tell y'all or speak my behalf on what's his name, Loz Dawkins. Hey, but I need to like put it out there more as far as the 3 Wise Men, just in case some people don't know. The 3 Wise Men is, I'm not on that show. It's Stormy B Man, is these two brothers, as well as Scrapbook Boxing. Scrapbook Boxing, y'all need to look him up, sub to him. Y'all should know what he about. That dude is, you know, very historic when it comes to the history of boxing. So it's 3, you know, brothers that know the history of boxing, and they bringing you that history of boxing talk. They're not talking no modern boxing, so don't come in there with a whole bunch of modern day boxing questions and stuff. They talking old school boxing. That's the only channel or show I know that's really talking, giving y'all the history of boxing. So if y'all want to hear, you know, old school boxing, like real old school boxing, dudes that actually know what they talking about, not just dudes that's older talking it, but dudes that really know the history of boxing, go to that show. And yeah, as far as me, look, to me, I don't need I don't need to listen or listen or be on panels that's doing 3-hour streams every day. It ain't enough boxing for that. I could do this one show and that's enough boxing I need to participate in. So and when y'all came to this show, y'all heard something different. Dudes ain't talking about no boxing politics, no fighters purses, what they driving. They talking boxing over here. That's why I'm over here, and it's the only panel I'm gonna be on for a while. Other than that, I'm not.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen out there in the chat and those who have been listening over the airwaves, want to say thanks for tuning in. This has been Friday night chop session with Stormy B Man, episode number 8. We're on already, fellas. We are moving right along. Episode number 8. And from myself to Hyphy, Loz D, the snoring, and Kurt Sugar, we're going to say peace to everyone. Have a good night.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, brothers, y'all still there?
Yep.